It's been called the roof of the world. Ladakh is one of the highest inhabited regions on the planet. Nestled between the mountains, there's a near monastic silence among the towering Himalayan peaks. But like an evil spell, that quiet is shattered every morning when the city of Manali comes to life. As dawn breaks, its narrow streets are pounded by a throng of small transports. Here, there's just one traffic code for everyone. Keep cool, stay zen. On the outskirts of town, two men and an ancient truck prepare to get to grips with the highest road, or more accurately, track in the world. Before setting out, Adjay, the driver, and Ali, his assistant, try as best as they can to load up 50 beaten-up jerry cans, whose condition conceals the fact they are carrying what for Ladakh is a prized liquid, tar. The precious cargo will be used for repairs 500 kilometers away to one of the region's rare paved roads. The trip is likely to be risky, so Adjay is leaving nothing to chance. The road is very steep, and there's not much oxygen, and if it overheats, it can break the engine. Does that happen often? Oh yes, it's happened to me before. Ali carefully checks each tire. If one bursts, they'll probably end up in a ravine. If there are stones in the tires, they could cause a puncture. I need to take them out before we start, or it could be dangerous. Adjay and his mechanic are not traveling that far, but it's the road, not the distance, that provides the challenge. Manali to Leh, you've got to figure 3 days. But if the road's bad, it could take twice as long. It takes a long time to get over the summits, because I have to drive very slowly. When it's flat, I can go more than 20 kilometers an hour. But in the mountains, top speed is only 4 kilometers an hour. Sometimes when the engines overheat, we need to stop and wait. There are all sorts of things that could go wrong. The road can only be used for 3 months a year. The rest of the time it's buried under snow, which in some places can be as deep as a 6-story building. Every winter, the freezing conditions ruin the tarmac road surfaces. When the road opens up in July, whole stretches are turned into a muddy trap. Trucks and cars can remain stuck for days at a time, wheels caught tight in 30 centimeters of molasses-like mud. If the road is narrow and gets waterlogged, it can fall apart, and the truck can slide, and that's very dangerous. Ladakh is a region cornered between Tibet, China, and Pakistan. The Manali-Leh highway is hardly ever repaired, and for any driver to attempt the almost 500-kilometer journey, it takes a lot more than courage, as the road wends through some of the highest peaks in the world. There are no protective walls. It's too narrow for 2 vehicles. Parts are unstable. Rock falls and a beckoning ravine. The dangers are many. The Changpa are nomads who live on the high, arid mountain plateaus. They're constantly on the move, seeking pastures for their herds of goats and yaks. The Changpa seem destined to disappear. The youngsters are no longer interested in having the same life as their parents. Life is very hard here. It's so cold. In winter, the temperature can drop to -30. Before, there were 70 families. Now there are just 15. The path to wisdom is often long and tricky, as Tenzin, a monk, knows all too well. Look at these small stones. If you slide, you fall. And in winter, when it's frozen, it's even harder. Tenzin is a monk who walks everywhere. His own monastery is some 3,000 kilometers away. His endurance will be tested to the full. In the foothills, the asphalt soon gives way to dirt. The road narrows. Adjay and Ali, his co-pilot, take on the first interminable climb. 50 kilometers of sharp bends on the edge of a ravine. When the road's so narrow and there's a vehicle coming in the other direction, what do? Well, sometimes we have to go on. Sometimes we back up. There's a system we follow, but it just depends where it is. Only millimeters separate two-way traffic. Go on, it's okay. Without Ali, his assistant, Adjay would have ended up in the bottom of the gorge on more than one occasion. My role is to keep an eye on the wheels. I check that they're not punctured. And that when we overtake, we stay on the road. There's the mountain too. You need to be really careful on the turns. The driver can't always see if there's a vehicle coming, so it's my job to warn him. And then I check to see if the road's solid. Otherwise, we might crash. Ali mostly keeps an eye on the verges, as in some places, it's only a miracle that stopped them from crumbling away. They pose a real danger to truckers, having been subjected to the ravages of winter. And temperatures of -40 destroy both the road and the paved surface. In some places, whole sections of the road have vanished. The winter weather has also caused damage elsewhere. This bridge is very dangerous. It's very high up and it shakes. I hope it won't collapse. I'm worried, so I'm going to inspect it. Before crossing, all drivers check this kind of suspended bridge. They are hardly ever maintained. The suspension bridge can take up to 9 tons, and my truck has 9 tons of cargo on board, so I'll need to cross very slowly. See, the boards are broken. Getting the wheel stuck in between would be really bad. But your truck's overloaded. You sure you want to cross? I think I can make it. I am overloaded, but I think the bridge will hold. I'll cross slowly.
अगर 9 से ऊपर वजन लेके जाएंगे तो ये नीचे ही चले जाएगा.
Unlike the rest of India, the region of Ladakh has no monsoon season, and it hardly ever rains. So the region is arid with scarce vegetation. Without the roots of plants to keep the earth in place, the mountains continually crumble onto the road. To avoid disaster, the flanks have to be constantly bolstered. There's just been an accident down there on the Leh road. We're widening the road with a second lane here. The bus slid down. The bodies were swept away by the river. They still haven't been found. The workers come from the poorer regions of India. Hunger has driven them this far, and entire families slave away for the equivalent of barely €4 a day. We're from Jharkhand, and we're here to work and make some money. We work up here for 5 months, from May until October. There's not much oxygen up here, and if you walk too quickly, it's difficult to breathe. It's a very dangerous work. 2 weeks ago, a worker was killed when a truck was unloading rocks. Road maintenance saves lives, but paralyzes traffic. Stuck in the traffic jam, Adjay has lost a lot of time. He'll need to make up by driving faster. Otherwise, his employer will fine him for being late. To make up for lost time, he'll have to take some calculated risks. Tenzin is a Buddhist monk. He prefers to travel on foot, and with good reason. This is where people have died in accidents. On the memorial are their names and the dates when they died, and also why they died. Here, because the road is too narrow. It's really a very dangerous place. After a short holiday with his family, Tenzin is heading back to his monastery, 3,000 kilometers away in the south of India. It's an epic journey that he'll make mostly on foot. Look at these small stones. If you slide on them, you'll fall. And in winter, when it snows and freezes, it's even harder. Buddhists don't fear death. They believe in reincarnation. But a violent death is different, as it means their new life will be painful. Life, they believe, is shaped by what happens in a person's previous existence. If I slide and fall, I could die. It's so dangerous. Everyone has to die one day. But if I die before I'm meant to, that would be regrettable. If I die like that, it's also due to my karma. That's how we Buddhists think. If I did something bad in a previous life, then my karma will be bad. And if I die in a bad situation, it's because of something I did in a past life. There are few villages in Ladakh. Barely 300 are dotted around a region twice the size of Switzerland. Up here, there's no electricity or running water. But oddly, there are school uniforms. A legacy that dates back to British colonial days. There is little by way of entertainment in the mountains, so when a stranger, and a monk at that, passes through, all doors are open to him. Tenzin is being hosted by one of the village's most important persons. To honor her guest, the lady of the house has served tea made with yak's butter. What do you do for a living? I'm a teacher. Up here? Yes, just over there. That's good. A monk never pays for anything in Ladakh. He's always invited. It's a sign of respect. I don't know what it's like outside of Ladakh, though. But here, that's the way it is. Tenzin has almost no money, so being fed by strangers is the only way he gets to eat. After resting, the monk heads off again, heading for a small temple in Lingshet, which he wants to reach before nightfall. How old are you? Oh, about 100 maybe? Which way is Lingshet? It's over there. Up there. It's over there. You need to go over that pass. After walking for hours, Tenzin finally makes it to the summit. Here he performs a small but nonetheless crucial ritual. This heap of stones is known as a lato. Inside, there's a spirit that protects us. The temples and monasteries are not perched on summits to test the convictions of the faithful, but for a much simpler reason. We build monasteries sheltered from the noises of villages because it would disrupt our concentration and prayers. We need to climb very slowly up to the monastery because it's very steep and it's hard to breathe. But when we get there, everything will be fine. The temple is at almost 5,000 meters altitude. The door is closed with a simple ribbon, yet inside lie many valuable objects, some made from gold. But no one here would risk trying to steal anything, since a bad action in this life will lead to great suffering in the next. Tenzin will spend several days meditating before leaving for his own monastery. He knows the rest of his journey will hardly be restful. Adjay has been driving through torrential rain for several hours. This road is unsafe because the rain hides the holes and the tires could get stuck. And then if the road is narrow and gets waterlogged, it can fall apart. The truck can slide, and that's very dangerous. The route gradually turns into a muddy track. Despite his familiarity with the road he's been taking at least once a week for 6 years, Adjay is on edge. 4,000-meter-high Rothang Pass looms ahead. And if the rain wasn't bad enough, it's also starting to get foggy. Oh, we'll need to turn around. The fog and the rain make maneuvering difficult, and fatigue makes driving awkward and imprecise. The ravine is always close by. I'm getting tired. I haven't shut my eyes for 2 days. We work long hours and earn little. This type of road is no pleasure ride. We only do this to survive. Every day they risk their lives for a miserable salary. Aged 38, Adjay takes home the equivalent of 160 euros a month. Just enough to feed his wife and send his 2 daughters to school. It's another 8 kilometers to the summit, and it will take several more hours. Hey, what's happened? I don't know. I'm afraid it might be a huge traffic jam. Come on, get out and see what's going on. A short distance further up, and it's a depressing scene. Dozens of vehicles are stuck, caught in the mud. It won't start. Why? Because it's getting too cold. How long have you been stuck here? Well, we've been in the mud for 30 minutes. Yeah, you won't do it this way. Open the bonnet. Tie the rope over the top. It's July. There's a steady stream of traffic. Indians fleeing the stifling heat of the plains seek refuge in their villages in the highland. Traffic jams occur every day, and for some it's the first and possibly last time. How many times have you taken this road?
First time here. First time.
Didn't you know it'd be like this? No, I've never seen anything like this. Sometimes it takes several days to get the vehicles out of the mud. It seems clear now. How many more kilometers is it like this? Another 3 or 4 kilometers like this. It's more dangerous for the smaller vehicles. What about my truck? Yeah, you'll be okay. Or maybe not, as when it's time to leave, you need a rock. Ask for help. Hurry up then, come on, let's go. Okay, go on, go ahead. After a 5-hour delay, Adjay and Ali finally leave the mud. They were lucky. The last time, they were stuck for 8 hours. they reach the peak 4,000 meters up, they are half a day behind schedule, and their friends had started to worry.
Hello. Hello.
Ali, it's okay, I'm coming. I'm just on the Rothang Pass. My friend Aldi. What did he say? He asked me whether I'd die. To make up for lost time, the descent will be made flat out and more by guesswork, as the roads have become an ice rink. Deserts are not necessarily in hot, arid climates. The lack of oxygen and what little rain does fall have made the mountains in Ladakh a high-altitude desert. Like in the Sahara, vegetation is rare, but some nomads have made this territory their own. The Changpas live in extreme condition, raising their yaks and their sheep, and their most precious animal, the Shangra goat. It produces one of the finest wools in the world, known as pashmina. The nomads call it golden fibers. It's a wealth that has made them live in these high mountain ranges for generations. The greater the altitude, the more high-quality wool the goat produces. The nomads are about to break camp. The Changpas have to keep moving to find new pastures for their goats, which eat enormous amounts of grass every day. It takes just 3 hours to pack, and every transhumance is an excuse to celebrate. Hurry up, we need to leave. There, I'm ready. Every time they move, the women take out their peraks, ornate turquoise headdresses. They start making them when they reach the age they can marry, and throughout the rest of their lives they continue to add stones. They're considered to not only afford divine protection, but are also seen as an indication of wealth. The more turquoise, the more prosperous and powerful the family. Grandpa, I can carry your bag if you like. No, don't worry, I'm fine. According to the experts, their way of life will disappear within 10 or 20 years. Many of the younger generation head off to the big cities as soon as they can to seek a more modern lifestyle. Some, like Barkham, however, say they won't abandon their yaks. Life is very hard up here. It's cold in winter. It can reach minus 30 degrees. There used to be between 65 and 70 of us. Today, there are just 15. Better to live in Leh, because here there's no work. But life as a workman is also very hard. Until now, I've always lived among goats, yaks and sheep. We have all we need up here. We're born here, and it's best to stay up here. What do you tell your children? Well, we tell them they should continue like we do. They don't answer. We teach them what we know and ask them to carry on. After walking for 6 hours, El Dorado is in sight. A small river bordered by a few strips of vegetation is enough to please both man and beast. They know this site well. They return each year to set up camp as the grass here, watered by the river, grows quickly. The abundance of food excites the animals. Everyone helps rebuild the camp. Dolma and her husband have gradually left the tribe and only come up in the summer to look after the few animals they've kept to make life a touch more comfortable. We sold our goats and almost all our sheep. Kept our yaks. During winter, we live in a small house in Leh. Do you want a big stone? No, we just need to tighten the rope. These nomads will soon likely be living in the slums around the capital. In the not-too-distant future, the desert and the high mountains will once again fall completely silent. Or nearly. The noise of an old engine will, inevitably it seems, always break the silence. Adjay is trying to make up time on the Rotland Pass. On the descent, he's taking a lot of risks. Facing oncoming trucks, he and his co-pilot don't hesitate to force their way past. Come on, you can keep going a bit further. Otherwise, we'll all be stuck. Brave, but not foolish. He reverses. Thanks for going in reverse. Adjay pushes on, but suddenly he's forced to stop. Look, it's my friend's truck. Ali? Yeah. His friend has been broken down on the side of the road for more than 2 days. Usually, amongst drivers, it's each man for himself, as delays cost too much money. But between friends, it's different. Give me the key. Which key? The 17 key in the bag there. Simple bolt is what caused the breakdown. It was that big, and it snapped in half. That part must fit together. The trucks are ancient and have been patched up many times. And the worn-down machinery never lasts long on roads like these, full of potholes. Careful not to break anything else. Since last night, I've lost 17 hours. This stop will cost me. It'll lose me about 150 euros. And how long does it take you to earn 150 euros? About 2 weeks. As a way of reward, some unnatural-looking colours. What is it? Kukuri, like chips. And how do they make that colour? Well, it's made in a factory. Nobody knows how they do it. Not real food. Adjay next has to tackle one of the highest passes in the world, the Taiglanla, altitude 5,000 meters. If the weather remains fine, there won't be any traffic jams, and Adjay might be able to make up for lost time. The Indus River flows through Ladakh. The river gave its name to the country, India. Here, bridges are rare, and the paths that lead to nirvana can be perilous. In this tiny basket, Tenzin, the walking monk, needs to put into practice what he's been learning for years in his monastery: how to remain Zen, whatever happens. It will take 3/4 of an hour to cross the river. It's hard, and the trolley is very long. And the rope's not that good either. I'm so thirsty and very tired. That was hard. I thought I was about to die. Look, my lips are so dry. Hard to use the basket, but there's no bridge, so it's the only solution available to everyone. Leh is the capital of Ladakh. The town is perched 3,500 meters up the mountainside. Less than 40 years ago, it was still little more than a large village. Today, thanks to tourism, the town's expanding at a frenetic pace. It's become a magnet for all nationalities and all religions, although Buddhists still outnumber the others. Every day, the rollers, which are dotted throughout the town, are turned in a clockwise direction. They're called prayer mills. And the faithful say each time they spin, they send prayers into the air. Tenzin doesn't pray for his own soul. Instead, he prefers to put in a good word for humanity as a whole, in an effort to make man and the world better. Buddhists do not believe in a god. Tenzin regrets the rush for modernity, but doesn't reject it. In his opinion, the newfound wealth causes more harm than good. He believes a simpler life would allow more lives to be saved. Once on my way to Manali, I witnessed a road accident. The passengers were injured, and there were also many dead. People think a car will make their lives easier, but the opposite happens. Cars kill us. Usually you buy things to make you happy, not to kill you. If he had a choice, Adjay would give up the dangers of being behind the wheel of a truck. He didn't choose to be a trucker, but it's the only job he knows. And besides, his license costs too much to give it up now. For once, the climb up to Taglanla is a smooth one. At an altitude of 5,360 meters, the pass is one of the highest in the world. Adjay takes a short break to acclimatize his body to the lack of oxygen. There's very little oxygen at this height. He gets out of breath very quickly. It causes headaches, sometimes even death. Oh, it's very cold on this part of the road. Let's go. It's the final stretch of his journey. The last stop is meant to bring good luck before reaching Leh. No one passes the mausoleum without paying their respects. A few years earlier, a driver died a violent death, and according to the truckers, his spirit haunts this part of the road. To remain in his good books, the drivers leave offerings, such as cakes, but occasionally death demands more specific objects. Well, sometimes he asks for water, so we give it to him. Cigarettes, too. He was a mechanic. He died when he was working. If the driver has a problem, he's always there to help. I used to be a mechanic too, and then I became a driver. And he also wanted to become a driver. Well, how did he die? Well, his truck wouldn't start, so the driver asked him, as the mechanic, to wedge the wheel with a rock. But it was too small and the truck started going backwards. And it crushed him. Ever since leaving Manali, Adjay has been driving under pressure, and fatigue is beginning to take its toll. After 470 kilometers of unpaved roads and 7 days behind the wheel, Adjay and his co-pilot finally reach their cargo's destination. They want to offload as quickly as possible. Come on, we need to be quick. The 9 tons of tar are unloaded in no time at all. But the few minutes gained here aren't enough to stop the owner imposing a fine for taking 2 days longer than usual. I had to get the paper signed, otherwise we wouldn't get any money at all. He said, give me 15 euros or I won't sign. Does that happen often? It's always like that when we're late. 48 hours that will cost them 10% of their salary. The two partners start off again. No time to rest. They set out for Manali to pick up another consignment of tar, hoping the next trip will be more successful. For once, Tenzin, the walking monk, will take a bus. He has a good excuse. Is this place free? He doesn't want to miss the big religious festival at Hennis. It's due to start in a few hours, and he'd never make it if he went on foot. Why is it so crowded? Because there are only 2 buses a week that serve all the villages around here. Where are you going? I'm going to the festival in Hennis. To take part in the religious ceremonies, many are ready to risk the journey. The bus is bursting with travelers, and even if he's a monk, no one is willing to give up their seat, and it's a 2-hour-long ride. The monastery at Hennis is besieged by an armada of tourists. The festivities occur only once a year and attract large numbers of foreigners. Not every visitor respects the religious nature of the event. Many are ready to do anything for a great photo. The sacred dances commemorate the birth of Padmasambhava, the founder of Tibetan Buddhism. Not so very long ago, these dances had to be performed in secret inside the monasteries and were limited to a small group of people in the know. Tenzin believes there are far too many tourists and doesn't feel at ease amidst all these foreigners. The monks dance, not because it's a show, it's not a game. But for the tourists, the dancing is entertainment. If you don't understand the meaning of the rituals, you can't realize its significance. For several years now, travel agencies have been sponsoring the monasteries. A lot of seats are reserved for tourists, unfortunately, to the cost of locals and the monks themselves. It goes against Buddhism, and here everyone should be made welcome. It shouldn't just be those who can pay for it.